So this morning's job is to replace the seal on the hatch. You can see that there's a chunk missing out of it up at the top. I took that out as a sample piece to take around to see if I could find a replacement seal. And I found some that would probably work, but they wouldn't work as good as the one that was designed specifically for this hatch by Lumar. And so I contacted Lumar, and eventually, after a lot of hard work trying to get to it, I found a identifying serial number and part number on the acrylic, and was able to track down the exact seal for the hatch. And so what I'm going to have to do is take the hatch off of its mounting here. So I'm going to take the two screws out of the hinge, and then take these two hinges off here, and that should release the hatch. And I'll take that and bring it down into the salon and replace the seal in it, and then reinstall it. But here is the replacement piece, and it was amazing when I got this to feel the difference in this seal as compared to the one that is on there now. I think that somewhere along the line, since this boat was built, I don't think, I know that the entire hatch was replaced. And I'm assuming it had a new seal in it at that time. So I think that I don't know how many years or how many decades it's been, but I think it's a very old seal and needs to be replaced. Certainly it was leaking before, and that's the primary reason. Speaking of leaking, by the way, as you know, if you've been watching any of my previous videos, I had leaks in various places when I first bought the boat, and I have spent the last year and 2-3 months since I've owned the boat. I've put a lot of work into resealing the areas that were leaking, which were primarily, as we've gone over before, where the deck is attached to the hull. So I had a leak up here, port side V-berth, starboard side V-berth, back in the galley area over here where I just replaced the shelf and shelf front. Amazingly, I haven't had any leaks over here in the salon area on the starboard side, but I will still be working on that area when I get this bulkhead torn out of here, which will be at some future date. But it rained yesterday, and I came down here to check this morning to see if there were any leaks, and I could not find evidence of one drop. So considering all the work I've put into it and how long it's been, I am elated. So this is the final step, pretty much final step, at least for now, in trying to waterproof the interior of the boat. So here we go, taking the hatch off, and I'll shoot some video of that as we go along. Okay, here is the progress so far. I'll show you how this works. So I took the friction hinge off. This kind of allows the hatch cover to close at a slow rate so it doesn't slam shut. And then this was very interesting, the way these hinges here go on and come off. First of all, there's a plastic cover that covers the inner parts here, and both of these were so brittle that they snapped in half. So I am going to try and replace those, and hopefully it doesn't look like they're critical to the operation of everything, including keeping water out. So but I still want to replace those. And then the second interesting thing is there's a pin here. You can see it, a black pin in the center. That is what holds the pins into the body of the frame of the hatch cover. There are these black plastic things that go over the shaft of the pin, and once you remove those, you can pull these two aluminum things here and push them together, which pulls the pin out of the frame of the hatch cover, and then you can take the hatch off, or hatch cover off. So here we are with the hatch cover removed, and now we will take this down to the salon and replace the seal, hopefully without anything else breaking. You can see that the acrylic is already crazing here from the years of UV exposure. But anyway, let's go replace this seal. Okay, now that the hatch cover has been removed, we're going to remove these 4 screws at the top, which holds the frame that holds the acrylic glass in place. And then there's 4 more here that you can see, and that will separate the 2 halves of the frame. And you can see here the piece of insulation that I took out as a sample to try and find other seals that would work. But again, this is a genuine, the replacement is a genuine Lumar seal, and so it should work wonderfully. So now you can see that I have taken the 2 halves of the frame apart, and now all I have to do is remove the seal. And care does not need to be taken here because this is the old seal. All right, we are ready for reassembly. I have that's the new seal hanging on the Lexan, and I have polished the glass as much as it would clean up. Let's just say I went through a whole lot of paper towels, and I have cleaned up the frames that are here, and those are ready. Everything is ready for reassembly. So there we are. Over there lays the dead and soon to be buried old seal. So time for reassembly. This was, I'm going to actually say it. I'm going to say that this was actually more difficult than I thought it would be. Can you believe that? But yeah, it really was. And the main problem was not installing the seal or anything else. The main problem was the supplier. And I'll tell you what happened. You can probably see the separation, or the place where a piece was glued, super glued in to place in the seal there. And then if you look over here, you can see another place. So what happened is that the original seal that the supplier gave me was too small. And so we confirmed part numbers, and he said, well, you know, what must have happened is we put the wrong seal in the bag, But what we'll do is, for a goodwill gesture, we'll just go ahead and send you a new seal. So I'm like, cool. So I got the new seal yesterday, and lo and behold, it was the same size as the first one. So I was pretty much done with the supplier and with the whole project of replacing the seal. So what I did, yes, you probably guessed, I cut 7.5 inches off of the one of the seals, spliced it into the other whole seal, and made sure that I had to stretch it around the acrylic in order to get it to fit, so it was a nice tight fit. And we pulled all that off. I say we, me and my wife, and it works. Well, I say it works. It's back on the acrylic, and the frame is back on the seal. So now all that's left is to reinstall it onto the hatch itself and then give it the water test. So onwards and upwards from here. So here we are on day one of Galley remodel, and the first thing that I'm going to do and how I'm going to do this is I'm going to start here with the counter and the sink and the faucet. And once I get those out of there, I'm going to take the laminate off. Then I'll work my way on to the left. So I'm kind of going to go from right to left in this project. So the first project, or the first part of the project, is to remove the sink and the faucet. And I got to looking at what that was going to require, thinking it was going to be easy. And do we ever, you people who do projects, do we ever go into the project saying, oh, this is going to be really difficult, or this part of the project is really going to be easy, or it never works out the way you think, does it? So anyway, on that note, let me show you what we're faced with here. Get some light on the subject, and we'll go down underneath this sink, and you will be able to see that there is a set screw there that's holding the sink in. Makes perfectly good sense. Over here on this side, there is no screw in the sink holding it in place. But if you go way over here on this side, and I don't know if this is going to show up or not, but there is one over there which is totally inaccessible, or at least with the structure the way it is. So the first thing I learned about this project, A, is that it's not going to be easy, and B, that I'm going to have to pull this piece of plywood off in order to access one of those set screws that's holding the sink in place. So that, of course, just leads into another issue, which is this piece, of course, is all one piece that runs down the front of the settee on the port side of the boat. I was planning on, and still am planning on, covering this with a birch looking laminate on down the road, but I wasn't planning on doing it now. So it looks like what I'm going to have to do, oh, and there's more. The you see this little screw right here? That holds the foot pump that allows you to pump water into the sink up through this faucet right here. Well, that is attached to this piece of wood, plywood, that I want to remove, and then I'm going to have to remove. Not that I want to remove. And so I've got to completely disassemble the foot pump down here. I've got to remove it anyway. And then there's some plumbing back underneath here. You can see the water filter here. So all of the bottom, everything on the bottom here of the sink, underneath the sink, is going to have to be removed, step one. And then I can cut this piece of plywood out of here, access the screw that's holding the sink in that I can't access now, and then pull the sink out and the faucet out. So that's what I'm looking at. And oh, there's more. The fresh water tank sits right underneath this settee cover, and it of course is a 50-gallon tank, and it's probably right now about 20-25 gallons would be my guess. And I'm gonna have to use a hand pump to pump that water out bucket by bucket until the tank is empty, so I can remove the hoses to replace them and to get this thing going. So one issue after another, after another, after another, and I haven't even started yet. So there's going to be fun had, if you want to call it fun, and let's get going. So this is an update. You can see that I did in fact cut down the front of that settee, and then while getting up underneath the sink to look at some other stuff, I came up with an idea as to how I might be able to access that inaccessible screw that was holding the sink down, and lo and behold, I was able to get it. So the worst damage that was done is I put a cut down the front of the settee, but that's no big deal because I'm going to cover the whole thing in a laminate. So no harm, no foul, not much anyway, and onwards and upwards. Well, 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 well. When would you ever think that it would be a good thing to have a hole in your boat? Well, I'm here to tell you, this is a good thing. But I finally got the sink out. I was able to heat up the laminate, the old laminate, with a heat gun. Get a wedge underneath it, pry it up, and there she be. So there's the old, and here's going to be the new. Still going to use the same sink, but I'm going to put obviously new laminate down. You can see I still have to take the back piece off, and then like I said, I'm working from right to left. Over here will be the cover that will be permanently in place, that goes above the drawers, and then we continue to work our way to the back. So we've only just begun, but we have success so far. So we'll continue to work on this. All right, so at the end of day one, this is how we look. All of the laminate is off of this counter, and then we move over to the top of the drawer, and with the exception of the laminate back here at the back and to the side, this is ready to have new laminate put down. And then we move on and begin taking the laminate from here off to the left. Once I remove the refrigerator, we'll be able to take all of this out and start from scratch, rebuilding that. But I feel pretty good about what I was able to do on day one. I think that this is going to look good, and it's certainly going to feel good after all the work and after all the waiting for a new galley.